All right, folks, so we're starting a new unit, Imperialism, and today what I'll be doing is going through the basics of imperialism so that you guys can start looking into the case studies that I have for you this week. And while you're listening to this and watching the screen, I posted this sheet for you. It's just a note-taking sheet, so I'd like for you to fill this out and turn it in on this assignment. You can type in it, you can print it out and write in it just as always. So just make sure that you're getting down all of the reasons and important pieces here, okay? So imperialism is essentially when one country takes over another country in order to create an empire. And I want to make sure that I get the definition up here for you. So Um, it's when the domination of one country over another country politically, economically, or socially. So that means that that country, the country that is taking over another country, can either take it over directly or indirectly. And we're going to be talking about those two different types of imperialism, okay? So domination of one country over another country to create some type of empire or political, economical, and cultural control, okay? So there are different types of imperialism, and this is going in your squares. So there's four reasons as to why we have imperialism or why there was imperialism right after the Industrial Revolution. One, you have all of these countries making all of this stuff, right? Britons are making textiles, and you have other countries in Europe continuing to grow their factories as well. And so now they need more resources and they need more customers to sell these to. There's a lot of different places other than the European continent that actually has resources. So that's one of the reasons. The second one is actually to gain some military control. And if the French have a little colony all the way in the middle of Asia, now they have this stayhold in Asia that they didn't have before, and they've got a little bit more military power there, okay? And so what they start to do, what European countries that imperialize start to do, is bring their military and station military around the world so that they have a little bit more power here and there. Okay. The next one is culture and religion. So essentially, what that means is that they're trying to spread the Western religion and medicine and law, because to the Europeans, their civilized world is the best and it is the right way to live, according to them. And then the last one is social Darwinism. So social Darwinism is the idea of racial superiority, and it's where we do see a little bit of that racism that begins in this time period. The idea that a certain type of people is better than the other type of people just because of the way that they live and speak and dress. And you will see quite a lot of this, and it gets a little harsh, but it's important to remember that we study this for a reason. So keep that in mind. Now, there's two different types of imperialism that we're going to be talking about pretty specifically. And the first one is direct rule. So this one you guys are going to see this week. So direct rule is when an official from the imperializing country comes to rule over the colony or the imperialized country. And they impose their government and their culture, and they use military force if necessary. And so we're going to be looking at the Belgian over the Congo this week, as well as Britain over South Africa. Okay, so we're going to be looking at two different types. Okay, the other one is indirect control, and that is the use of local rulers. So it's when a country imperializes another country, but uh, they will not necessarily have um, that imperializing country's leaders in there. Okay, and so they might not use military, but they will continue to ensure that they westernize or that they bring the culture of the imperializing country to the imperialized country. And one of the examples that we'll be looking at is the British in India, but we'll look at that next week. And so, folks, what I would like to show you really quickly is this map that essentially happens over the course of the next 100-ish years. And you guys can see that the countries don't own themselves. In fact, Belgium owns this giant part, right? France owns almost all of the Sahara. Germany owns these places. Great Britain owns all of this. And what you start to see is these countries that are taking over other countries gain a lot of power because in these places are resources, right? The Belgian Congo that you guys are going to be looking at this week are they have these extreme amount of rubber plants, and all of a sudden the rubber industry booms and Belgium becomes really, really rich. And so as you're looking at these this week, keep in mind what types of resources might be in Africa and how this imperialism is going to be affecting not only the imperializing country, but the imperialized country. How is the imperialism going to be affecting the Belgians that live in Belgium and the Congolese that are being taken over? Okay, so have fun this week with the assignments. I have some pretty cool videos on. Talk to you soon.